Good morning and welcome to our small footprint. I once again forgot to film an intro of any sort for the video. I get started so early in the morning that I tend to load the camera up on the tripod and get going and just forget that I haven't actually spoken to anyone yet. So it is early, like 7 a.m. on a couple of days later, where I'm trying to get the video up and I've realized that I've got no intro. I haven't even had coffee yet. So I'm out here quickly doing the voiceover. So all my voiceovers for the videos at the moment, I have to edit the video, watch it, write out some timestamps on a notebook, and then come out into the yard to film the voiceovers because there's just too much noise anywhere else. And I don't have a laptop or anything at the moment, so I'm doing it all on a desktop, which means that I have to then come out here without the video to do the voiceover. So I'm hoping that they're all lining up fine. But anyway, today, so the one I'm releasing today, this morning, is day 5, I think, and it was pizza for dinner. And what else did we do? We did more of those breakfast cookies and smoked chicken breasts and things like that. So please enjoy watching, and if you're enjoying this series, I'd love it if you'd subscribe and leave me a comment down below and let me know any feedback that you have on anything that is going on, because it all helps me to make my content better and to make it better for everyone to watch. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time. First task of the day was to sort out the pizza dough that I made last night and let to rise overnight. So I make it the night before, and then I leave it in the containers on the bench overnight, and then the next morning, one of the first things I do, generally after coffee, is I separate the pizza dough into individual pizza base sizes. So I weigh it all out because, as you've seen, I really like using scales to make things nice and even. And I make evenly sized balls. I shape them up into nice tight circles. I dust them with a bit of semolina and use a bit of oil on my hands, and I shape them into balls and place them in ceramic baking trays with more semolina on the base of the tray and around the balls to stop them from sticking to each other. And they go in the fridge for the day until I'm ready to make them that night, and we just pull them out about half an hour before we're ready to bake them to let them warm up a little bit to make them easier to stretch out and shape, if I remember. And they can stay in the fridge for a couple of days, so we can use them for a couple of days if we don't use them that night. We had a bit of the flatbread dough left over that I had put in the fridge. As I said, we can store it in the fridge for quite a few days if we need to. So it was still in the fridge. We pulled that out and separated it into enough pieces for all of us to have that for breakfast/lunch for the kids. The kids were doing some schoolwork, so they shared that with me as well. We cooked up the very end of the chicken thighs that we had as well, and that I'd already marinated, and had them with salad on the flatbreads that I'd rolled out nice and thin like tortillas. Next task was to make the sweet rub for the chicken to go in the smoker. Now, the sweet rub is heavy on sugar because the sugar helps to create that caramelization skin over the chicken, which keeps it moist. If you lower your sugar content, you have to be really careful about temperatures and stuff when you're smoking the chicken to make sure it doesn't dry out. And because I don't have the patience or the time to monitor it as closely as I probably should, I prefer to just make sure that rub is sort of heavy on the sugar to counteract any drying out. We put sugar, molasses, onion powder, garlic powder, some paprika, mustard powder, pepper, salt. Sometimes I have some other herbs in there if I want. A bit of thyme is sometimes nice. A bit of marjoram can sometimes add some nice flavour. And we just mix it all up and make sure it's nice and well combined so that we can put it on the chicken. I tend to drizzle some olive oil over the chicken trays to get them to make sure that they're moist all over and that the rub has something to stick to. And then I just pick them up and I separate some of the rub into a secondary container so that if I've got spare rub left, I can put that in a jar so that there's no raw meat touching it. And I just press the chicken into it, try to get it into all the nooks and crannies, and then place it on our racks. So I had Karvik helping me this particular time. He likes to scoop the rub into the secondary container where I dip all the chicken into. He just likes to be involved, which is great. So we covered all of the chicken with the rub. I did 3 trays worth, which ends up being 24 breasts that I could fit into the smoker. There is a 4th tray, but it sits very close to the flame box, and so I find that it dries out too much, it cooks too quickly. I put the Bluetooth thermometer into the one of the nice big thick breasts on the tray that is closest to the firebox as well, so that I use that to judge when that tray needs to come out and check the other trays at the time. I decided to fillet and dice the rest of the chicken breasts. I sometimes can it into shredded chicken, but I decided that we still have half a dozen jars on the shelf, and I might like to make some faux KFC crumbed chicken fillets this month, and maybe a butter chicken or a mango chicken curry or something. So I decided that I was going to fillet the nice big breasts and then dice up all the tenderloins and any other offcuts as well. We vacuum seal our raw meat to go in the freezer. I do try and reuse my vacuum seal bags, so I cut them a little larger so that you can cut the seal off and then wash them and reuse them. I tend to try and reuse them only for like and like. So if I've used it for raw meat, then I'll use it for raw meat again. But we have to make sure that those bags get stored appropriately to do that. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I did the fillets in 1.5 kilo lots and the diced chicken in 500 gram lots. We pulled the chicken out of the smoker and I placed it into a ceramic baking dish as it comes out of the smoker, generally speaking, 1 or 2 of them depending on what I need. I leave them whole for quite a while and I place foil over the top of them so that they stay moist, so that they keep the juices in and rest underneath that foil and are kept still warm in there for a little bit before, so they don't cool too rapidly, because I find that seizes the meat and it ends up dry. Also means that when the chicken is sliced up, because I slice it up to store it, I slice it all up and I mix it through those juices that are left in the bottom of that ceramic tray, so that all the chicken's coated in its own juices as well, which makes for a really nice flavored chicken when it is vacuum sealed up to use for other things. I remade the banana oat almond biscuits again because I still have a whole lot of bananas to get through, and this time I made a note of everything I put in to the recipe so that I could share it, and I will put all the ratios in the bottom if I don't get this up on a blog post before I post the video, and then later on I'll add it to the blog that I'm still working on getting going. But the kids have really enjoyed these biscuits. They have been a big hit, so I purposely filmed the actual process of it for you so that when I put it up on the blog I can take this little snippet of biscuit mix out and put it on the blog as well, so anytime you want to go back you can just look at that rather than having to come back and find it in this video. my pizza prep, I like to dice everything up and put it in little bowls before I'm ready to make the pizzas. It just makes it more convenient. So I fill all the bowls with all the different topping ingredients before I even get the dough spread out. I sliced up one of the chicken breasts, or a couple of the chicken breasts that we had smoked today. I used the economy bacon into little dices as well. The kids love pineapple on their pizza. I think it's kind of gross, but the kids really enjoy it. I like to add corn to our pizzas. I also sliced up some of the meatballs that we had cooked the other day into pieces and chunks to go on top. The kids don't have cheese, neither does Daryl, and I hadn't made up any cashew cheese or anything this time. So what I do is I make up a big pot of slightly thinner duck egg mayo, and the kids drizzle that over the top of their pizza as their cheese alternative, which they really enjoy. I use these silicone mats to roll my dough out on, and then I just transfer those silicone mats onto a baking tray that's preheated in the oven. I'd really like to get a wood chip pizza oven of some sort. We have a large wood stove that you can cook pizzas in, but it's not in the right spot at the moment. We need a new flue extension for it to draw properly and things like that, so we haven't got there yet. I always just put them into rectangles because more fits in the oven in a rectangle, and it's easier to slice into 6 in rectangles. So nothing fancy here. It's homemade pizza sauce, and that I've canned, which I think I'm on to my second last jar, so I need to do some more of that. And we just layer the toppings on there. We put a decent amount of toppings, but not too heavy, because otherwise the base won't bake well enough. So you want to make sure that there's room there for that to happen. And maybe when I get a pellet stove or another wood stove of some sort to cook pizza in, then it'll be easier, but the gas stove takes quite a while to cook it, so you have to be careful not to overload it. I actually made banana bread today as well. I didn't film it, but again, more bananas that needed using. So this is the banana bread coming out of the it's been out of the oven for a while. I'm putting it on the cooling rack here, and the kids enjoying their pizza, the little ferals that they are, enjoying their pizza for dinner. And this is what Daryl and my pizzas look like coming out of the oven. I put cheese on mine because I can, and he drizzles the mayo on his as well. Thank you for joining us again today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm a little behind on posting at the moment. I think this has been almost 2 days since I got the last one out, but the next one has been filmed and is ready to go shortly too. So I hope to see you again tomorrow, and thank you very much.